What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review, and I wanted to talk real fast, give you guys my review and my thoughts on the Amazon Prime original movie, Troop Zero. Now, full disclosure, I worked for the Boy Scouts of America for 3 years, and then I left and I went back to teaching. And then I came back to the Boy Scouts, worked with the Boy Scouts for 6 years. And now I left the Boy Scouts again, and I'm teaching again. So I've got a total of about 9 years under my belt working for the Boy Scouts of America. And so these youth scouting programs are something that are kind of near and dear to my heart. Even though I don't work for the Boy Scouts anymore, it's still an organization that I love. And they do so much good for kids. And it's too bad that they're in some of the situations that they're in, because they do so much good stuff for kids. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Awana, any kind of scouting program, they do a lot of good for kids. So, that being said, I watched Troop Zero, which is basically a movie about the Girl Scouts. They call them the Birdie Scouts. Usually in these movies, they don't get the rights to use the Boy Scout name or the Girl Scout name, so they create their own scouting program that's basically the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts. And in this one, they're called the Birdie Scouts. And I gotta tell you guys that there was a lot of stuff I really liked in this movie. There's a lot of stuff I didn't like in this movie at all. So let's talk about some of the stuff that I did like. It was really funny. Like, there was the lead girl in this, played by McKenna Grace, who, by the way, she is a very talented girl, and she's gonna have a great career. I think we're gonna see her next in Ghostbusters Afterlife, which, by the way, Ghostbusters Afterlife is my most anticipated movie of 2020. Can't wait to see it. And she's playing Spangler's granddaughter in Ghostbusters Afterlife. So this girl's got some big things coming up. But so she plays the girl who is kind of the one that spearheads this whole idea of getting a rival troop started to the established troop that's in town. And of course, it's the established troop that rejected their membership, even though no scouting organization ever rejects anybody's membership ever. They get their own scouting group of misfits put together. And the reason behind wanting this scouting group, them wanting the kid to get the scouting group started, is because they want to go to the Jamboree, because they want to win first prize at the Jamboree and be able to record their voices, and have their voices be sent to space as messages to aliens. You know, NASA is involved in the Jamboree, and NASA wants to get wants some kids to develop a message to potential aliens to be sent into space. So all that was really good. All these misfit girls, which, by the way, they're not all girls, there's one boy in the group, but all these misfit girls are really just great characters, and they each have their own moment, and they each have their moment that's just their moment of comedy, their moment that just makes you laugh because of their unique qualities. They each just have these moments that make you laugh. But like I said, McKenna Grace carries this. She's really, really good in this movie as kind of the quirky, nerdy kid who dreams of going to space. Now, there's a reason that as the movie progresses, we learn that space, yeah, she is into space. She's into the idea of going to space. She's into the idea of learning what's up there. But she's also very, hopeful. She's a very hopeful kid because her mom has passed away. And her trying to reconcile what's in space is close to, as the movie progresses, her trying to reconcile what's in space is her reconciling where she thinks her mom is after passing away. She's trying to reconcile where she believes her mom is. She's reconciling the whole idea of heaven. So yeah, that was a really compelling, deep message in a movie that on the surface is just this silly troop comedy. Jim Gaffigan plays the dad. And his role in the beginning of the movie was one where I didn't like him. I thought he was kind of this deadbeat dad type character. I thought he was going to be very stereotypical deadbeat dad. But as the movie progressed, you find a lot of empathy for this guy. You feel for him because you know that he's trying his best. And yeah, he may not always make good decisions, and maybe he's even not very good at being a dad, but he's somebody that you can sympathize with because you know he's trying. And being a single dad is hard, especially in the 70s, which is when this is set. Being a single dad is hard. It's hard in any decade. But in the 70s, there were much more defined gender roles than there are today. And he was trying to take on these defined gender roles, this defined gender role. And raising a daughter in that process was pretty difficult. So I loved it. And there's this scene at the end of the movie where you've got these kids start performing a song that you fall in love with every one of these kids, and you feel so much sympathy for every one of these kids while they're performing the song at the Jamboree. There's a lot to like in this movie. And there was so much of it that it kind of had a Little Miss Sunshine vibe for me, where it was hilarious, but at the same time, you felt a lot going on. You felt a lot here going on for the kids, for the families. So yeah, all that was really good. And overall, this is a very positive review for Troop Zero, a very positive review. But there was some stuff that I didn't like also. Allison Janney plays the troop leader for the troop that is established with all the best kids, and I felt all that was very stereotypical. Me having worked for the Scouts, I know that there's usually dozens of troops in a community, and they lift each other up. They help each other. They don't compete with each other. Now, there can be competitions that they go to where they compete against each other, but even then it's in a friendly spirit, and maybe it's just I know too much about Scouts that I can't disassociate myself from that. But the whole rival troop thing just seemed very cliche, stereotypical. It just seemed kind of worn out to me. The Allison Janney character, for the most part, felt very wore out. Now, she had a nice arc where she changed a little bit through the course of the movie, but for the most part, this is a character, and all the girls in this troop, the rival troop, it just felt very cliche and very worn out to me. The color palette, it had a very yellow, pale color palette to it. And even, the uniforms, all that had a color scheme to them, but everything about this movie had this yellow, pale color palette that it had to have been intentional. It had to have been intentional, but it just seemed, it seemed kind of boring to me. And maybe that was the point of it, was to create this mundane feel. But I think there's other ways to achieve that without robbing your eyes of colorfulness in what could have been a very colorful movie. So the color palette, it got on my nerves. As the movie wore on, I started to notice it more and more. And by the end of the movie, the color palette that they chose just really got on my nerves. But guys, overall, Troop Zero is a very strong movie. It's very funny. And it's a coming-of-age movie. It's a coming-of-age movie where these young girls learn that through the power of friendship, that they can find belonging that may not even be in their own family. That their belonging can come from other places. It can come from people around you. And you can find a sense of community in the people around you. And I thought it was a very strong, very good message, and I really enjoyed it. But that's just my opinion. One man's opinion here. What did you think of Troop Zero? Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. And just wanted to thank you guys again for being here at the Yoki Review. This is where we talk about movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, pretty much anything nerdy, anything geeky. And I thank you for being here to talk about that stuff with me. And until next time, we'll see you later.